Welcome back to the deep dive. If you look at the global news cycle lately, it feels less like a steady stream and more like, well, a tsunami hitting everywhere at once.
Absolutely. Political chaos, deep fakes popping up, devastating humanitarian crises, and some really baffling economics. It's a lot.
It really is. It's hard to keep track.
Exactly. And that's why we've gone through this stack of pretty complex, fast-moving sources for you.
Our mission today is simple. Cut through that noise.
Yeah.
We want to distill the critical intelligence you need to stay truly informed.
Yeah, and we're focusing on three major themes that jumped out. First, this tension between political spin and, well, actual hard facts.
And how that tension is almost dissolving into weaponized fabrication now, right?
Precisely. Second, we have to look at the devastating and frankly escalating humanitarian cost of global conflicts in some really critical zones.
And finally,
Finally, we'll shift gears quite a bit. We'll look at the kind of extraordinary, sometimes even criminal economics of branding, history, and desire.
okay, quite a range. Let's unpack this.
Right.
We have to start where political infighting is, well, practically a national sport. Westminster.
Yes.
We're looking at this toxic culture row that's kind of blown up within the UK Labour Party. Involves the leader, Sir Keir Starmer, and his cabinet member, Wes Streeting.
Yeah, I mean, on the surface, maybe it sounds like standard political leaks, you know?
Yeah.
But the level of public toxicity here, it really forced a high-level response.
That's the key thing, isn't it? The internal fighting got so destructive that Starmer himself had to issue this explicit, on-the-record denial.
Exactly. He said, quote, "I've never authorized attacks on cabinet members," and called any attack completely unacceptable.
Which, in the world of Westminster's anonymous briefings and off-the-record stuff, having the leader step in so directly, well, it shows how bad it got.
Huge damage control exercise, really.
And the mudslinging itself was quite something. Streeting, who was clearly getting hammered by these briefings.
Yeah, he was the target.
He tried to deflect, didn't he? Suggested the leaks actually came from people in No 10, claiming the prime minister was fighting for his job.
Right, it's like blaming the other team for poisoning your own water cooler. A bit of a stretch, perhaps.
And of course, the Conservatives saw their chance.
Oh, immediately. Kemi Badenoch jumped right in, specifically blaming Starmer's powerful chief of staff, Morgan McSweeney, for engineering this whole toxic environment.
Now, McSweeney is widely seen as, the brain behind Labour's recent strategic wins.
Right? He absolutely is the architect. So Starmer's defense was, well, it had to be absolute and tactical. He just said flatly there wouldn't be a Labour government without him.
So defending his guy while also trying to shut down the whole narrative of internal leaks.
Precisely. It's a perfect snapshot of how modern politics demands that immediate top-level spin control.
Okay, so that's spin. But if we pivot from spin to just, well, outright fabrication, hitting instantly, we need to look stateside.
Yes. The election of Zoran Mamdani as the new NYC mayor.
It immediately triggered this, massive wave of misinformation, didn't it?
It really did. This is where you see that shift from sort of strategic leaking to actual information warfare. The moment Mamdani won, boom, claims exploded online.
Like what?
Oh, thousands of NYPD officers resigning in protest, trucking companies abandoning the city overnight, viral stuff.
And the fact check.
Our sources confirmed totally false. Or, in some cases, satirical posts just deliberately passed off as real news.
But here's the tricky part, right? There was a grain of truth mixed in.
Exactly. That makes it so much harder to debunk. The NYFD Commissioner Robert Tucker did actually resign.
Just one day after the election.
Citing ideological misalignment with the new mayor. So you have this one high-profile confirmed fact.
Buried amongst a load of fabricated claims.
Precisely. And that single truth lends a kind of credibility, a camouflage to the whole malicious package. It makes it incredibly hard for, the average person scrolling through to sort fact from fiction quickly.
And then you layer on the AI deepfake threat, which isn't theoretical anymore, is it?
Not at all. It's crossed the threshold from tech curiosity into a political weapon. That AI-generated video of Elon Musk.
Saw that. Got huge engagement, 4.4 million views.
And get this. The person who posted it even added a note saying they weren't totally sure if it was AI or not.
But they still treated the content as legitimate.
Yeah, because the underlying message, whatever it was, resonated with them. That's the slippery slope, isn't it? Engagement first, verification, maybe later, or never.
And the darker side of this, when hate gets involved.
Well, look at the image that spread immediately after Mamdani's win. The New York Jets cheerleaders supposedly debuting in green niqabs.
I remember seeing that. It looked off.
Totally fabricated. It even used an older Jets logo, apparently. A blatant manufactured attempt to stir up Islamophobic fear and hostility towards Mamdani. It just underscores how false images are now a primary tool in political sabotage.
Okay, so we've seen how the battle for political truth plays out. Now we really need to shift focus to places where the cost of conflict isn't measured in leaks or likes, but in human lives and collapsed infrastructure. The news from Sudan is, well, it's dire.
It truly is. The Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, this powerful paramilitary group, they captured El Fasher, that's the capital of North Darfur, on October 26th.
And the immediate aftermath.
Catastrophic. Barely covers it, honestly. Survivor accounts coming out are confirming immediate, ethnically targeted massacres. Estimates are already over 1,500 people killed right after the capture.
Just horrific. Targeted mass violence.
Yes. But the crisis goes way beyond the initial fighting. The humanitarian fallout is staggering.
Tell us about that. Those figures on childhood malnutrition, they were shocking.
They are heartbreaking. Doctors Without Borders, MSF, they reported malnutrition rates in the displacement camps near Tawila have reached, well, staggering levels.
Staggering.
Over 70%. 70% of children under 5 who managed to even reach Tawila were found to be acutely malnourished.
70%. My goodness.
And remember, nearly 90,000 people have fled El Fasher alone, so you realize the aid operations are just completely overwhelmed.
They can't cope.
No. The International Organization for Migration, the IOM, they're warning these operations are literally on the brink of collapse. Intense insecurity, supplies totally depleted. It's a perfect storm.
And on top of all this profound human suffering, there are these chilling reports about gender-based violence, systemic reports.
Yes. There's mounting evidence suggesting rape is being deliberately and systematically used as a weapon of war in this conflict.
Deliberately. Systematically.
What really stands out here is the kind of layered failure of protection. You have widespread massacres, this systemic use of sexual violence, and the aid system collapsing, all hitting at the same time. That complexity just defines the urgency of the crisis. It's almost unthinkable.
Okay, let's move now to a different kind of critical infrastructure threat, one that carries enormous risk for global security. Russia's intensified missile strikes targeting Ukraine's nuclear energy system.
Yeah, this seems to represent a really distinct escalation in tactics. A change.
How so?
They're not just hitting the consumer power grids anymore, though they are still doing that, of course. This looks like a hybrid attack strategy, specifically aiming at the substations of the nuclear power plants themselves, like Khmelnytskyi and Rivne.
Substations, not the reactors directly.
Right. The goal seems to be twofold. Obviously, disrupt power supply. But, crucially, it looks like they're trying to destroy the energy system's operational basis to force the reactors into risky emergency shutdown modes.
So, let me get this straight. They aren't necessarily trying to cause a meltdown directly, hitting the core.
Doesn't look like it, no.
But they're trying to push the reactors to a point of instability through these forced emergency procedures, which itself introduces catastrophic risk.
Precisely. That's the danger. And experts are sounding the alarm because the protective concrete structures around these facilities, well, they were designed for conventional missiles.
And
they're proving powerless against advanced weapons like the Kinzhal and Iskander missiles. These are very hard to intercept. They hit with extreme force. The existing defenses just weren't built for this level of threat.
Which explains the desperate diplomatic push from Kiev. What exactly are they asking for?
They are desperate, yes. They're calling for global pressure, asking major non-Western powers, specifically China and India, to intervene politically, and urgently requesting immediate provision of advanced air defense systems.
Like Patriots.
Primarily the Patriot system, yes, to protect these absolutely key substations, the stability of the European power grid, and frankly, global nuclear safety protocols could depend on getting those defenses in place now.
Okay, let's shift again to a diplomatic chess match that actually resulted in a rare moment of resolution in a very fraught political relationship.
Ah, yes. The release of the French-Algerian writer Boualem Sansal.
He's 81 years old, a known critic of the Algerian regime, and was suffering from prostate cancer.
Right. And this is just a textbook example of using, let's say, political foresight to resolve a difficult standoff without actually appearing to concede power.
Remind us why he was arrested.
Sansal was arrested about a year ago, sentenced back in March for undermining national unity. This was after he criticized France for allegedly ceding Moroccan territory to Algeria, a very sensitive topic.
Especially given the history between Algeria and France.
Exactly. deeply sensitive, often antagonistic relationship with the former colonizer. So, Algeria's President Tebboune had previously rejected all French requests for a pardon for Sansal, flat out refused.
So what changed? What broke the deadlock?
Interestingly, it wasn't France, it was Germany. The release was secured after the German president Steinmeier urged it, framed it as an expression of humanitarian sentiment and political foresight.
Ah, clever framing.
Very. So, by releasing Sansal for medical treatment and transferring him to Germany, Algeria managed to resolve this growing international issue, show humanitarian concern.
Without looking like they buckled under pressure from France.
Exactly. It allowed Algeria to save face while still achieving the humanitarian outcome. A neat piece of diplomacy, really.
Okay, let's pivot now into the, frankly, sometimes bizarre world of economics, where value is purely what someone is willing to pay for something.
Right. Perception is reality.
And nowhere is that more obvious right now than with Apple's new iPhone Pocket, retailing for
Wait for it.
an astonishing 220 pounds.
Hold on. 220 pounds? For what is essentially a phone sleeve, that doesn't even close properly.
That's the one.
That sounds less like luxury and more like some kind of social experiment in brand loyalty. Or gullibility.
Well, that's pretty much the online consensus. People immediately started ridiculing it, this open-top, sock-like thing.
Some Harrison.
Oh, yeah. Cut-up sock was a popular one. Borat's mankini came up. People instantly pointed out the lack of actual security. Like, why pay that much for something that makes your phone easier to steal?
It's a fair point. So what's the thinking, economically speaking?
Well, one analyst, Matt Navarra, suggested the pricing has absolutely nothing to do with function. Or materials, really.
So it's purely about?
Form, branding, and exclusivity. Especially because it's a collaboration with the fashion house Issey Miyake.
Ah, the designer link. Okay.
So Apple is basically testing the absolute limits of its brand loyalty. How much will people pay just for the Apple logo and the association? It's a statement item, not, practical accessory.
A 220-pound statement. Wow. Okay.
And if we want to talk about how history and a good story adds zeros to a price tag, look no further than that recent Sotheby's auction. A diamond brooch.
Oh, the Napoleon one.
That's the one. Lost by Napoleon himself while he was fleeing the Battle of Waterloo, early 19th century. Absolute chaos.
And the price tag reflected that chaos, didn't it?
It absolutely did. Sold for $4.4 million US, which just completely smashed its pre-sale estimate. I think it was around 200,000 francs. Just blew past it.
So the value wasn't just the diamonds.
Not primarily, no. It was the story. The irresistible story of imperial collapse.
Yeah.
This circular jewel was found in a stash of his personal stuff after Napoleon's carriages got stuck in the mud during his retreat.
You're buying the drama of that specific moment.
Exactly. That's what added millions to the price.
And the timing probably helped too, right? With all the recent fascination around Napoleon.
Absolutely. Experts pointed that out. Global fascination is high, especially after that big Louvre heist of Napoleonic jewels not long ago.
Yeah.
It just amplified everything. The buyer wasn't just getting diamonds, they were getting a tangible piece of the downfall of an empire.
History really is the ultimate markup, isn't it? Which brings us neatly to our final valuation method. Valuation by crime.
Yes. Mexican authorities recently suspended 13 casinos. Why? They uncovered the sophisticated multi-million-dollar money laundering scheme.
And the mechanism here, it was chilling how they used identity theft.
Tell us about that.
Well, the scheme systematically targeted unsuspecting individuals, often retirees, students, homemakers, people whose identities were stolen.
Okay, so they have the stolen ID. Then what?
They'd use that ID to open an account, get prepaid cards or codes linked to it. Then that stolen identity would be used to place a tiny, meaningless bet at one of these casinos just to establish activity.
To token bet.
Exactly. And then, this is the crucial part, the casino would fraudulently register a massive, completely fictional windfall of millions under that innocent person's stolen identity.
Making it look like this retiree suddenly won the lottery.
Precisely. A huge fake win. And that fictitious winning was then digitally wired overseas to tax havens, usually through various front businesses to layer it.
Wow. And big players involved?
Well, two of the targeted casinos belong to Grupo Salinas, a very powerful corporate group down there. They, of course, immediately denied any wrongdoing, accused the government of political harassment. Standard playbook.
But what really stands out here is how the identity theft provides the sort of paper trail, the cover story.
It's the perfect camouflage. The crime works because the system generates this credible, traceable winner who either never existed or certainly never won millions. It makes the massive transfer of illicit funds look legitimate. Hashtag tag outro. We've covered such a monumental range of issues today. But they're all linked, aren't they, by this increasing fragility of, well, truth, stability, and trust.
Definitely. From the erosion of political accountability in the UK, the weaponization of deepfakes in the US,
To the absolutely terrifying immediate humanitarian crisis unfolding in Sudan and that constant existential threat to Ukraine's core infrastructure.
and then that wild swing into how history, celebrity branding, and organized crime all conspired to dictate these staggering economic values.
It's a dense, challenging stack of sources, for sure.
It is, and we really appreciate you sharing them with us today, helping us make sense of it all.
Absolutely.
So, given everything we've discussed, the increasing sophistication of information warfare, right? From that organized money laundering using stolen identities to AI deepfakes designed purely for emotional impact, we want to leave you, the listener, with this final thought. It's a provocative one. How do you now verify the legitimacy of a major news story, or even, say, a financial transaction, before you actually trust it? What becomes the new reliable standard for proof when literally everything from someone's voice to a multi-million-dollar transfer can be convincingly fabricated?
Something to really think about.
Indeed. Think on that, and we'll see you next time as we continue our deep dive journey.